Soldier kills colleague, senior officer in Sokoto. 4-year-old girl, grandparents severely injured in cooking gas explosion. Jigawa residents groan over rising cost of commodities ahead of Ramadan fast. Another foreign scene, Senegal political stakeholders remain divided over postponement of presidential election. Hello and welcome to Trust TV's News Update. I am Chiamaka Wafo. Troops of the Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Hadarindaji in Sokoto have gunned down their colleague who opened fire and killed a senior officer. The officer killed by Kingsley, a second lieutenant, was identified as O.C. Ukachukwu. A military source who confirmed the tragic incident said it happened on Sunday at about 6:05 p.m. James was said to have gone berserk at the forward operational base in Sokoto and opened fire, killing Ukachukwu before he was killed by other soldiers. Some of his colleagues who were also injured during the incident are currently in stable condition in the hospital. There have been public concerns recently over the state of mental health of Nigerian soldiers, particularly the ones fighting terrorists in the northeast. Following the recurring nature of these incidents, some of the soldiers have in the past complained about poor welfare, overstaying in the region, and abysmal treatment by the military hierarchy. Tragedy struck at the riverine community of Kabama in Sagbama local government area of Bayelsa State over the weekend when a man, simply identified as Tony, beheaded his girlfriend after allegedly having carnal knowledge of her. Though the details of the tragic incident were sketchy at the moment, findings, however, revealed that the deceased lady who had the child with the boyfriend was identified as Maxwell, an indigene of the Amatolo in the southern Ijo Council area of the state. It was gathered that she was allegedly killed by her lover around 3 a.m. on Saturday as her headless and naked body was discovered at dawn by curious neighbors. The boyfriend and father of her child were reportedly apprehended by members of the community and handed over to the police before he could escape. The remains of the deceased have already been deposited at the morgue of the Federal Medical Center, Senegal, while the suspect is being detained at the State Criminal Investigation Department. The reason behind the gruesome murder of the woman was not ascertained as at the time of filing the report. Police spokesperson in Bayelsa State, ASP Musa Muhammad, who confirmed the incident, said the command will issue a statement on the incident soon. Residents in the Federal Capital Territory expressed support for the proposed creation of state police, as advocated by the PDP Governors Forum, which has described it as a panacea for national security. Noel Sampson gathers reactions from FCT residents in this report amid the escalating insecurity in the country.
The idea of state police has been in the front burner of national discourse as a solution to the unending insecurity facing Nigeria for over a decade. Governor Bala Mohammed, chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, emphasized the importance of state police during a recent visit to Plateau State, highlighting its projected impact in bridging the gaps in the security architecture in Nigeria.
There is no dissent between the governors at the subnational level that we need to get some decentralization of the security apparatus so that we can enhance good governance by having good state police. And again, that will give us the opportunity to engage the structured security agencies to train our youth and also make sure the rules of engagement are not abused.
In 2017, a survey conducted by NOI poll shows that 61% of Nigerians are in support of creating state police to boost the security of lives and property in the country. On the streets of Abuja, there is an apparent consensus on whether state police is the answer to Nigeria's security dilemma.
Mostly with state, when there is state police, it's going to bring a lot of improvement to the states and Nigeria as a whole.
We are moving towards being a failed state like Afghanistan. So the best option now for every reasonable person is to try state policing. The central system has collapsed, and that is it.
The essence of state police, when you look at our country nowadays, there's a lot of shortage of manpower in police. The police is understaffed, but with state police, we could discover that our security will be improved.
The state of state police now, I want it to even materialize now. Because the way the Boko Haram, the S-men, is terrorize everybody. No state is secure. Even though in my state now, in Noyo, see, it's the way they are killing over, they are killing even little children. If President Tinubu can listen to us very well now, it should listen to the National Assembly, ask the National Assembly to approve the state policy.
As Nigerians continue to grapple with the numerous security challenges across the 36 states of the Federation, it remains to be seen whether the creation of the state police is attainable in the near future. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Moving away from security, in Lagos, a 4-year-old girl identified as Farida Shitu and her grandparents are currently in a critical condition at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital last week after a cooking gas explosion ravaged a 3-story building along Odubawan Street in Ojokro Local Council Development Area of Lagos. Her uncle also suffered varying degrees of burns in the incident that occurred on Sunday. The grandmother stated that she was frying meat when the oil went up in flames. She explained that efforts to control the fire were unproductive, leading to an explosion. The explosion, which occurred about 2 p.m., was later put out and the victim successfully rescued by community members. The territorial coordinator of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in the Southwest region, Ibrahim Farinloye, confirmed the incident. Farinloye, who said the buildings with 14 rooms and shops was reduced to rubble due to the intensity of the explosion, added that 11 families were rendered homeless. On economic matters, residents of Jigawa State have called for quick intervention from relevant agencies of government following the rise in prices of essential commodities ahead of this year's Ramadan fast. According to them, within a month, the price of sugar has risen to 73,000 naira from the initial price of 46,000 naira per 50 kilograms it was sold last month. Similarly, the price of rice moved to between 59,000 naira and 70,000 naira per 50 kg, among other basic necessities. Checks reveal that most civil servants in the state are indebted to shop owners selling food items because their salaries cannot feed their families for a month, while businesses are folding up due to inflation. Still on economic issues, residents of Taraba State have equally expressed concern over the rising prices of foodstuff and essential commodities and called on government to implement price control measures. Some of the residents who spoke with Trust TV said many residents of the state, especially low-income earners, can no longer afford 3 square meals a day as a result of rising prices of foodstuffs. The residents also accused herders of grains and Shylock traders for aiding and abetting price increase and advised government to check activities of hoarders and traders to help alleviate the suffering of Nigerians. They lamented that a measure of locally processed rice is now sold for 1,900 naira, adding that an average family will need 5 measures in a month, as well as beans, maize and other essential items to survive. They noted that since people are facing difficult times, it was imperative for the government to do something urgent before things get out of hand. In legal matters, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has dismissed the bail applications filed by the loyalist of the River State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, linked with the State Assembly explosion. The police had instituted terrorism-related charges against them following their alleged role in the bombing of the River State House of Assembly in October of 2023. They were also accused of killing some police officers. The defendants are Chime Eguma Ezabalike, Prince Lukman Oladili, Kenneth Goodluck Basa, Osiga Donald, and Uchueja Thangod. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared the Chung Pam Kwandong of the African Democratic Party, ADP, and Daniel Asama of the Labour Party as the winners of the Plateau North Senatorial District and Basa Jos North Federal Constituency rerun elections conducted on Saturday. INEC conducted court-ordered rerun elections in the Senatorial District and Federal Constituency. These actions followed the nullification of the elections of Senator Simon and Representative Musa Aga of the PDP by the Appeal Court. Adu Musa has more.
Declaring the results, the returning officer for the Plateau North Senatorial District, Professor Nestor Chagok of the University of Jos, said that Chumpam Matcon scored 122,442 votes to defeat his closet challenger, Shepiu Yakubu, who scored 53,980 votes.
4-3. That Chumpam Matcon of ADP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Professor James Damen, who served as the returning officer for the Basa Jos North Federal Constituency, also declared that Daniel Asama of the Labour Party scored 66,422 votes, defeating the second challenger, Mohammed Alkali of the PRP, who scored 61,670 votes.
336 votes. That Daniel Asama Ago of the Labour Party, having satisfied the requirement of the law, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected.
But the candidate of the NNPP has rejected the outcome of the election and called for the cancellation of the exercise.
In Nigeria in general, we shall imbibe on it. We therefore reject in strongest terms the so-called repeat election of 13 polling units in Tudun Kabom and 3 polling units in Naraguta B, believed to have arranged and scheduled in strongest words of other political party other than my party that was massively voted by the people in order to favor a prepared candidate and his party.
The breakdown of the results, as presented by INEC, showed that Shepiu Muhammad Yakubu of the NNPP came second with 53,980 votes, while Muhammad Alkali of the PRP came second in the elections. Some party agents, however, refused to sign the final result of the elections. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
This is a news update on Trust Television. Up ahead, we took a look at why Bayelsa residents express mixed reactions over environmental challenges. More of this when we return. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust Television. A recap from our top stories. Soldier kills colleague senior officer in Sokoto. 4-year-old girl, grandparents severely injured in cooking gas explosion. Tomorrow news. The Federal Capital Tariff Administration, through the Transportation Secretariat, has issued operational licenses to Bolt and Nairaxi to operate ride-hailing apps in the FCT. They granted licenses to authorized drivers with both companies to provide on-demand transportation and delivery services to residents using their mobile applications. Recall that the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has stated in a media chart on Monday, January 22nd, that commercial drivers and vehicles in the FCT would henceforth be registered in efforts to curb the insecurity in the nation's capital. In a statement on Sunday, the Transport Secretariat, through its Public Transport Management Scheme under the Directorate of Road Traffic Services, said other car services were expected to initiate licensing processes to avoid being banned from operating. They further explained that the authorization of the Nirexi mobile app and board is based on their top-notch digital transport and logistics services in the FCT, adding that the FCTA will equally begin to clamp down on unlicensed operators. In Bayelsa State, residents in Yenagoa metropolis are sharing mixed reactions regarding the performance of the Governor Doye Diri-led administration in the environmental sector. Trust TV correspondent Friday Ebimoboe Peter explores public opinions on the government's environmental track record.
Bayelsa has over the years struggled with enormous challenges in environmental protection, which has become a major public interest for citizens in the state. Some of the residents who spoke to Trust TV News say the government has improved its effort in public waste disposal while calling for a robust approach in addressing other challenges.
From my own point of view, he did well because in the place that they are putting those bin, the waste bin aspect is parking the people that he put in charge over the parking those bin. They are doing the work well, because if you are passing the metropolis, you are not seeing those bin littered all over the state. But for the people that he put in charge of the gutter during the sanitation day, they are not doing their work. They are just holding people that are passing by.
Does bin full small time don't come back am. Even the security itself in the try. So in try.
David Siasia and residents is calling for increased focus on the environmental sector, and the second tenor emphasizing the need for a proper drainage system in the Yenagoa metropolis.
We always get flood problem in Bayelsa. Please, for the drainage, let all the drainage be leaked into the the big river side, so that we cannot be having all those standing water that cause mosquitoes. But let him make sure that in the second tenor, this environmental sector concerning the drainage, let them work toward the drainage. Because when you enter some streets, you will find out that's not flood, just a rain. But people else will be flooded. 2 days, 3 days, you will see people using a generator to be drawing water out of their houses. And it's very bad for a state Bayelsa.
Residents have highlighted flooding as a prevalent issue in the state, urging the government to take decisive measures to prevent further occurrence. From Yenagoa, Friday, Ibimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagoa.
Away from Nigeria, in Senegal, the decision to postpone the presidential elections was well received by the former ruling Democratic Party, whose presidential candidate is Karim Wade. Wade's supporters were seen celebrating the postponement of the February 25th presidential election by President Macky Sall. The decision follows, among other things, the dispute between their candidate and the Constitutional Council, accused of corruption by the former ruling party. Several opposition figures rejected President Macky Sall's decision to postpone the election, with at least 2 of the 20 presidential candidates saying they would proceed with their campaign scheduled to kick off on Sunday. Sall's tenure is scheduled to end on April 2nd. Senegal's electoral code requires 80 days notice of an election, meaning the earliest a new vote could take place in the last week of April. West Africa's regional bloc on Sunday called for dialogue to resolve the political crisis.
We welcome this decision because it renders us justice. This decision by the President of the Republic to postpone the elections is good because these elections could not be organized without Brother Abdulkarim Sawade, who is the only viable, reliable alternative for the emergence of this country. It's really sad that a few hours before the campaign, a person, in this case Mr. Macky Sall, who in 30 or 40 days will no longer be president of the republic, should make a decision for the people. I don't think this is appropriate. What he has just done could set a dangerous precedent for Senegal, and I think it's time he stopped. Now it's high time for all the nations, driving forces, civil society, and everyone else to rally around the essentials, because if this travesty goes through, I don't think Senegal deserves to be called a constitutional state. This postponement is unconstitutional coup d'etat. On that note, we call on the Senegalese people to stand up to fight this issue, because we considered it to be a state banditry. The question now is, what will happen to Macky Sall's presidency beyond April 3rd? Will he respect what the Constitution says? Everyone is waiting for the president's decision.
Still on the foreign scene, President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador, credited with driving down gang violence in the Central American nation, says he has been re-elected. The 42-year-old took to social media to say he had won 85% of the vote. Preliminary results later showed him winning 83%, with 31% of votes counted. His popularity has soared following a crackdown on crime that has transformed El Salvador from one of the most violent countries in the world to one of the safest in Latin America. He declared himself the winner before the official results were announced, telling his cheering supporters that he had achieved the biggest difference between first place and second place in history. The preliminary results, released later by the electoral authorities as his supporters set off celebratory fireworks, appeared to support his claim of having won a second term by a landslide. On X, formerly Twitter, his party uploaded footage of the 42-year-old and his wife stepping onto the balcony of the National Palace to wave to thousands of jubilant Salvadorians, waving the party's light blue flags and chanting his name. And in sport, Toby Amuson has set new African women's indoor record in 60 meters after running 7.75 seconds at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix in Boston. Amuson's 7.75 seconds performance at Boston means she retired the 7.77 record she earlier set in Kazakhstan at the Astana Indoor Meet in January. Though an African record, the 7.75 effort was not enough for first position in Boston, as Amuson came second behind America's Tia Jones, who finished in 7.72 seconds. Closely following Amuson in third position was Bahamas' David Charlton, who finished in 7.76 seconds. Amuson had on January 27th in her opening race of the new athletics season, beating the African record set by her compatriot Gloria Alosier. And with that, we've come to the end of the news at this hour. For more news, follow us on our social media platforms for programs and documentaries. I am Chiama Kawafo on behalf of the news team and myself. Thank you for watching.